All right, everybody, welcome. It is the Monday after show. Hope you guys listen. I hope it was a great weekend, right? I mean, sure, Arkansas won and LSU got plastered. Of course, it's a good weekend. That's a great way to start. The only downside is every Florida State fan I've ever known is probably more annoying than ever today. All right, let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Yo! Oh, the camera. There we go. Hold on now. It went backwards for some reason on top of my computer. All right. Yeah. All right. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Hold on. I gotta. Oh gosh. No, it's not an alcoholic beverage, but Celsius Live Fit. This stuff is good, man. Like $2.20 a can. It's like zero sugar. I've drank these on here before. They're so tasty. Once it hits your lips. Okay, yeah. Like, share, subscribe. Shout out to Patreon supporters. All you guys that are we dropped and then we went back up. So I'm glad we had. It looks like we gained a couple. I think 2, maybe 3 brand new Patreon supporters. So welcome to you guys. Shout out to the show sponsors, Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company, same day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes. They will come out and give you a free estimate. Hundreds of 5-star reviews, including your boy, Ty. He's one of them. Highly, highly recommend if you need some work done on your door, on your garage door. Also, the Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzeria. I love when you guys go. You're sending me pictures on Discord. I love that. I'm going to start. If you guys start doing that again, if you go, or maybe you've been before and you just want to take a quick shot of the awesome environment that is the Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzeria, share them with me. Tag me so I can throw it in our Odd Soul page on Discord. Fantastic pies, local IPAs, local restaurant, man. We got to support local and small business owners. And there's one way to do that, and that's by going to the Odd Soul Craft Bar Pizzeria, located on Emma Street here in Springdale. All right. I obviously, look, I got it. We can't be here too long because we have media coverage of today's practice. When does that start? 5-something. 5:10. So I definitely got to be done here. It's about a 30-minute drive to get into town. Hopefully this time my motor won't blow up. That's why I was unable to go to practice last week. My motor blew up in my little Kia, so now we're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to face facts and just go car shopping eventually. Hey, maybe I should bring on a local car dealer as a sponsor. Maybe they'll give me a discount. If you know anybody, send them the link. But hey, man, this guy needs sponsorship. Give him a good deal on a ride. He needs to save a little bit of money. Nothing like having a paid for car and then the motor blowing it. So much for that. All right. Not a ton to talk about. Nothing new. I just kind of wanted to go over some stuff. I wanted to correct a few things. Also, Friday or Saturday in the postgame show, I don't know why. I don't know what was going through my mind when I was talking about Devin Manuel doing a good job pass blocking. I even had it jotted down in my notes. 72, Devin Manuel looked good. Well, 72 is Andrew Chambly. I know this. I've met his dad. I've met him. I knew that. I don't know what was going through my mind on Saturday when I was talking about Devin Manuel. But Chambly, I went back and I watched, man, and I know I burn this into everybody's head every time we talk about it, every time we talk about the opponent. I'm gonna be happy when we can start talking about the positives and not have to also say, all things considered, you know what I mean? Considering the opponent, but I thought he looked really good. I thought 72 looked really good. I thought Chambly, I thought the offensive line overall, pass blocking wise, did a really good job. Sounds like we do have a depth chart out. We have the depth chart, and there were a couple of things that were interesting to me. It looks like Centennial now is going to get the – well, it says or. correct me if I'm wrong. Did it not say Jaden Wilson at the top and then Centennial at the or was Centennial on the top? Was it the same as last week? It might have been. If I could have sworn Manuel was or Wilson was the guy. See, there I go again talking about Devin Manuel. I could have sworn it was Jaden Wilson that was the starter, and maybe no. Now that I think about it, it was Centennial. But I do think he's going to work his way up. Boy, talking about Wilson after last week, it feels like you can't go wrong. And you love a guy that could run anywhere out on the field. You can line him up on the outside. You can line him up on the inside. But what's great, and this isn't surprising, all things that we know about Sam Pittman in the era of Sam Pittman football at Arkansas, he likes those tall receivers. And Jaden Wilson, who's a guy who can move inside or out, 6'3", $180, and I think he's a legit tall 6'2", short 6'3". He's in that neighborhood. It's good to have a guy of that size with this kind of speed, that kind of burst. He had the 65-yard catch, or 65-yard catch against Western Carolina. So that's in that one catch. That's more than all the yardage that he had all of last year, talking about Jaden Wilson. He had 3 passes last year for 49 yards in 8 games. Snagged the 2-point conversion in the Liberty Bowl, which I completely forgot about. I don't know how. And yet he was a former 3-star recruit out of DeSoto, out of Texas. So it's good to see Jaden. Like, the stuff that I talked about on Saturday, and this is why I like going back over some of this so I can correct. I'm going to make mistakes. And I caught it when I was actually watching highlights. I was like, yeah, there's Chambly looking good. Oh, my God, I think I said Devin Manuel on Saturday. Oh, my God, how did I do that? It happens, man. It's so easy to do, and I'm surprised I didn't have people calling me out. Normally I'll have someone either leave a comment, which I appreciate, like, hey, Ty, blah, 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 you got that wrong. Or someone will DM me, like, hey, heads up, you said this when really it was that. I used to get those. Not so much. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I don't mess up as often. But I will. It's easy to do, man, especially when you're trying to keep up with the ever-changing, especially with how secretive they are about injuries. They still won't come out and say what the hell's going on with Brady Latham. I don't know. I mean, I could guess, but I think you guys could guess too. It's the thing they don't like saying, and it starts with a C. So and it rhymes with percussion. That's a dead giveaway. It rhymes with percussion. I think that's probably what it is. I don't know. Josh Street still rolling in with the 2 deep on this roster. Wiggins still behind Bo Limmer. Man, there's a part of me that wants to just see Wiggins go out there, number 56. He is all of that 6'3". In fact, I was a little surprised when they had him listed at 6'3", 310. I probably would have guessed. It's so difficult when I'm wearing tennis shoes, or you know what I'm wearing? This is what I've been wearing to practice. I wear these Adidas flip-flops, and they're like, I love them. They're so comfortable. I have a pair of Nikes. I like the Adidas more. I don't ask me why. They're just more comfortable. But I walk by these guys. Okay, I'm 6'3", 6'2", and you try to size them up because you want to know, okay, how tall are they really? And that's why, someone said in Discord, like, Ty, you were right. Or, Ty, I think it was you that said that Gums is not 6'3". I could tell you that with him with cleats on the field. I don't think he's 6'3". That's why I say he reminds me so much of a DJ Williams who's closer to 6'2". Maybe a short 6'3", a tall 6'2". DJ Williams and I, who I've stood right next to in line at gate 6 at the stadium, because that's the media gate, stood right next to him. He and I are like the exact same height. So that's why I say Gums reminds me not only in size but also in his athleticism. Wiggins to me I thought was like 6'5" or 6'4", 3. I don't know. He just looks that part. Like he looks closer to number 53. He looks closer to Crawford to me than he does what they have him listed at. But I'm probably wrong. Who's never wrong is the NFL Combine. That's when you really know. That's when you have a good idea of how big these guys really are. Yeah, but again, going back to the offensive line, the criticism obviously is the run blocking, rightfully so. Going back and watching War Machine's highlights, even on the good runs, it was like the running back a couple of times had to improvise. Again, going back to that Rocket Sanders touchdown, that was not a design. That was not a design cut. I don't think. I would love to get Pittman's take on that. I don't think they asked him. I listened to that. Actually, I was in the interview, but I had it muted in the Zoom call. So I listened to the rest of it on my way to Sam's Club because I had to get my wife's tire fixed this morning, right after the interview. And I don't know that he talked much about that, and I don't think anyone asked him. But the running backs kind of had to improvise a little bit. Or if you notice on those outside zone reads, they had to be a little bit more patient. And that's good. You want a running back to be patient. You want a patient back. Collins, to me, is one of the greatest. When you talk about patience, his hips, his awareness, his vision. Like Collins, to me, that's why he's my second favorite running back that I've ever watched, whether it be in person or whatever, in my lifetime. And I go back to like Madre Hill, right? Cedric Cobbs, Chris Chakuma. We can talk about, Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis. The list goes on and on. Raleigh Williams, Niall Davis. I'm going out of order here a little bit. Dennis Johnson. So many great running backs, but Collins is my second favorite because he could kind of improvise. He was patient. I can remember a couple times watching him put his hand on the back of the lineman, and you do that for a multitude of different reasons. One of those to let him know, hey, I'm kind of behind you. The other, you're trying to use it as leverage, trying to balance yourself, figure out which way you want to go. And he was brilliant at that. He didn't do it a ton, but I certainly saw him do it at least a couple of times. You have to improvise, and that's what makes great running backs. I feel like they're going to have to do that a little bit this year. Now, the poll it is, I don't want to say hyperbolic, but the question is really, are you worried about the run game? Should have been the poll. I know everyone's going to say no, and I think that's probably, listen, when you got two guys banged up on the offensive line, with the left tackle and Devin Manuel, and then you got the situation with the left guard, Brady Latham, they had to move Joshua Braun, who I'm pretty sure practiced 90% of his practice at right guard, other than back in spring when they put him at right tackle. He's primarily been at right guard. They move him over to left guard. Guys, it's not a whole different world. But in terms of like scheme and block scheming and just your overall responsibilities, you talk about when they favor a certain side, you're going to have to pull a little bit more to this angle. So you're stepping first with a different foot. You're leading first. The hip action, all of it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. Your assignments are going to be a little bit different. Blocking the left side from the right side, there is a difference. It also matters how the defense lines up and what formation and what their front, if they're using a multiple look or if they're shifting heavy to one side or another. So all that to say, not only that, they didn't have much film to go off of either. So all these things matter, and having two key pieces injured and not full go played a role. And I think probably the right question would be maybe, and you can't do it because you can only do yes, no, unfortunately, on these polls, but like how soon do you think they'll fix this issue with the offensive line? And the answer really would be, well, as soon as they get healthy. So health is a major indicator for what's going on up front. But it is a little bit alarming that listen, we could sit here and talk about that all day long. You should still be getting push against Western Carolina. And they struggled. Bo Limmer, I thought, kind of struggled a little bit, getting a lot of push. He had some plays where he definitely dominated. And there are a couple others where I don't know. I don't want to say he got overpowered because I never saw that. But it didn't look like, everything that we thought would happen with the interior. And again, take into consideration the movement, take into consideration, no Latham and so on and so forth, guys moving around. You still should have been able to overpower them and run north-south easier than what they did. That's where that's where the people on the other side of that who are saying, look, we still should have dominated up front, they're not wrong. So maybe the other question is, are you concerned about the two deep on the offensive line? Are you concerned about maybe they've only got those starting five and that's it? Because, the other guys may have struggled a little bit. I think they'll get this corrected. I'm not concerned. Now, if going into LSU, we're still looking at these numbers and they're averaging The running backs are averaging like 3.5 yards a carry, and they're getting, maybe Rocket's getting somewhere between 15 and 20 carries. AJ's in the mix, Johnson's in the mix, Augustive's in the mix, and they're all still like they're not really putting up as a team outside of KJ because KJ's going to find a way to get his yards. Of course, he also improvises from time to time. But if the running back's just straight out of run plays, whether it's out of the pistol or KJ lining up under center, whatever, they're not getting push, and that's still an issue going into the LSU game. I hate to tell you, I hate to break it to you, that is a red flag at that point. If this isn't fixed, if we don't see those improvements, you're living in denial. You're being a fanboy if you think otherwise, because we've seen this before where they struggle against shit teams, programs they should have no business struggling against, and they don't solve the issue to some degree, and it becomes a glaring problem at the end of the year. The secondary last year, that's what it was for me. That for sure, when you're watching Cincinnati up in the media box and you're seeing wide receivers run wide open and the quarterback just didn't see the open wide out or didn't make a proper read off that play, it was a giant red flag. Everyone in that media box saw it. I know Dudley Dawson and I talked about it. Dudley sat right next to me, and I know Otis and I talked about it. There were guys running wide open. Cincinnati, South Carolina. Now, South Carolina, towards the end of the year, that's understandable. They were a much better team on the offensive side of the ball. They probably were able to identify those issues against Arkansas and fixed them. Thank God. I don't know how that game would have turned out if Arkansas had played them towards the end of the year, but thank God you had them when you did. You got them when you did. So I'm only saying this to say, give it time. If it's not fixed in a couple of weeks, then maybe we're going to be a little bit concerned. They're going to need the run game. They're going to need the run game to some capacity. Now, that could dictate how Dan Enos, or as the announcers like to call him, Dan Enos, that's become an ongoing meme in our Discord. I butcher names too. It's just that one was hilarious. Dan Enos, that was great. But it could dictate how he calls plays. It may become, we're just going to have to throw the ball more so we can hope that we can open up the run game. We're going to have to rely more on outside zone runs, because the ISO's been taken away. We can't run in between the guard and the center. We can't run in between the guards. We can't do it. In between those three interior guys, your center, left, and right guard. So it could dictate how you call plays. They got to get it fixed. Now, again, Latham being healthy, Manuel being healthy, all your guys being healthy, getting a little bit more confidence in both your starters and backups will absolutely matter. Let me get back to chat here. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. I didn't listen to the commentary, so I wasn't sure where Dan Enos came from. That's where it came from. One of the announcers kept calling him Dan Enos, and it was great. What did he call Centagna? Now, see, I did too. We didn't know what to call Centagna. I called him Centagna forever, and I think they called him Centagna. I can't remember. It was funny. I have those same Adidas all in black. Bro, aren't they comfortable? I wear them at practice. I didn't used to. I have a pair of Adidas. They're like brand new Adidas. They're basically these, but they're the tennis shoe version, and they're comfortable, but these are so much more comfortable, bro. Dang, Ty. What did I do, Freddie? Was super impressed how the defensive ends saw the play, drifted with the backs, and blew up the screen passes in the flat, says Mark. McClarty Daniel. Hey, listen, if you know someone that works there, is Landers Auto still a thing? I know they're real big in Central Arkansas. Tell him your boy, hey, man, he needs a ride. Hook him up with a sponsorship. Give him a discount on a ride, bro. He said Centega. That's what it was, Centega. Yeah. Listen, man, I butcher names too. Sup, Ty? Was a big fan of the secondary on Saturday and how they overall performed. Great confidence booster to them. That is a very positive thing to see. To see the offense. God, this hat is filthy. I use it when I'm cleaning up and I get my filthy paws on it. I got to get a new hat. I got to get another hat done. Only one that doesn't show all the dirt. Confidence games are a thing. Games where you could just, you're going to have it. We thought the run game would be that way against these guys. I would have guessed a minimum of rushing for 200 yards on these guys. So that's going to be work for the offensive line for the run game. And I don't want to pin it all on the offensive line. It's a little bit more complicated than that. Stephen Hamner could tell you all about that. It's not always all on the offensive line. Remember, they get none of the love, all the hate. That's not always true. Razorback fans are smarter than that. They know when to give the offensive line its due credit. But it's also good to have these games where you have these issues, and thank God you did it against Western Carolina. It's also good to build a little bit of confidence. The secondary certainly got off on the right foot, and I mean they should have, right? Had they given up, had we been sitting here talking about, boy, oh boy, their wideouts were open constantly. There were a couple of times, as expected, where someone was open over the middle. I know that there was a couple of plays where the receivers were open outside and the quarterback missed it. But now's the time to work on that. Overall, I did think the secondary looked a lot better, absolutely, compared to what we'd seen at any point a year ago. No matter the opponent, we have the anthracite. What are you talking about? What do you mean we have the anthracite, Philip? What are you talking about? I do like the anthracite. What are y'all talking about? We talking about jersey swaps again? Oh, I see. Tony's asking about can Arkansas rock some black unis? Is that something in the card? Yeah. So anthracite would be their go-to. I don't know, man. The black and white. I don't remember who shared that. I want to say it was Eagle. I want to say it was Mike in Discord that shared that. It's a picture of Trey Knox. He's in the black and white Razorback jersey with the black and white helmet. Honestly, it looked kind of cool. Now, I might be biased because my logo and everything here is black and white. I thought it looked good. I don't have a problem with one game where you have an alternate jersey. But make no mistake about it, the classic DMAC era red and white, that era is, I think, the greatest, in terms of jersey or color combination. You have to wonder, swag, how they got blown out on – wait. Oh, okay. Is it crazy to say Kent State is worse than Western Carolina? Yeah, they didn't look good. I didn't see them. I plan on trying to catch some of their highlights wherever I can find it, probably on ESPN or somewhere on YouTube. I'm going to watch them. I'm planning on tomorrow or Wednesday get caught up on what was going on with them. Camo Gang says all black with metallic helmet. Oh, the chrome. Now the chrome is dope. Listen, that's my all-time favorite. It's good to see a really competitive battle between Clark and Johnson. Johnson was the guy who needed to have the redemption tour in 2023. He has to have that because I remember when he came in, there was a lot of excitement about him. I know someone's going to say, he wasn't all that out of high school, but he was someone I recall reading about in practice where they thought one day he's going to be a guy. He's going to be the guy. And I think last year, folks will tell you he took kind of a step back. And I think that's probably right. It was so good to see him. Yeah, the battle between him and Hudson Clark is pretty epic because and it's weird that I'm saying this. And I didn't think I would be saying this. If Johnson continues, let's say he gets those opportunities, I don't know that playing either one of those is a bad call, starting either one of those or either one of them getting majority calls or putting them both on the field at the same time. I really – Clark has these games where he just doesn't get enough credit. The guy gets all SEC and still people hate they just don't think he should be playing. And then he makes plays and people kind of shrug it off. Hudson Clark he's got to be – I think he's up there almost with the Brandon Allen hate. I don't get it. This kid has made plays. But now you've got Jaden Johnson. I'm going to be honest with you. Thought he had a pretty decent – I thought he got better as fall camp went along. But nothing that would tell me he's going to be the guy. He's going to have a game like what we saw on Saturday. Pitt picked a pass and forced a fumble in the opener, made 7 starts, and played in 12 games as a sophomore 2022, making a career best 35 stops, 3-star prospect out of Georgia. Played was he not an athlete? Was he not listed as an athlete out of high school? Because I seem to remember him also being regarded as someone who could play receiver. Big frame, 6'2". They have him at 206. That sounds, yeah. The other guy that stood out to me was Singletary, number 15. I haven't had access to the full game. I haven't seen it pop up on YouTube TV yet for me to go back and rewatch. I'm going to check that out. But I was impressed with him. Yeah, there was one play he gave up, but dude, you know what play I'm talking? It's the big one. It's the one where I think he got the receiver stopped down inside the 5. I don't remember how big the yardage was, but Singletary was stuck on him. It was just a fantastic throw and a fantastic catch. Sometimes those things just happen. Other than that, I thought Singletary was great, man. They have Braxton behind him. And then you have Lorando Johnson. How about TJ Metcalf? Recovered a fumble. He was a 4-star. TJ Metcalf's, I've been big on him. I'm so excited he's coming in as a freshman. He's already making plays. 6'1", 206. The spread's at 38. Is it? Oh, my. I haven't, I always wait to do my show or my pregame prep until about Wednesday or Thursday. I haven't looked on any apps, bets, any of the betting apps. I haven't looked. Yeah, right now the line is 38 points. Holy crap! Did you see Pittman said that they thought they're going to have they were close to a sellout in Fayetteville? I want to talk about Little Rock for just a second. I wasn't super impressed with the crowd. Now, if you were there, that's not a diss on you. Please don't get offended. But I wasn't that impressed with the crowd. They have 44,000 people showing up. You wait all off season. Yeah, Arkansas is coming off a 6-6 winning season with a bowl win, 7-6. Yeah, it's Western Carolina, an opponent you don't know a damn thing about. And yeah, you got KJ back for another year. That ought to be exciting. I've actually heard people say, yeah, but we got KJ back. I don't know that I'm that excited. That's a weird take. I don't get why it feels to me like the Little Rock games are just such a pain in the ass. And now we have the reports from people going to the game, going to the stadium, and having a miserable experience. Apparently, you can only get in one gate. What? Like almost 45,000 people and you have one gate accessible? Now, I hope that's bullshit. I hope that was someone just kind of, maybe they didn't see the other gate or other ways to enter the stadium. Apparently, this isn't, I don't know how many people have confirmed this, but I did see someone griping about the facilities looking like shit. No one taking care of the facilities. They ran out of water at halftime. No water, no beer. Concession stands were backed up forever at halftime. Now, listen, that's not exactly super uncommon, but it sounds to me like, once again, War Memorial playing there is a mistake. You're paying money to play off campus. You've already created issue number one right there for me. All games need to be on campus. All games need to be a place where if you're at home, and you get to host recruits. This is, make no mistake about it, to me, this is the home opener. I'm at the point now where every time I hear about Little Rock and playing any game there, it's annoying. I know people, and I have seen the people talk about it's important because, we're from the Delta. We don't get to go to the games. We're from Texarkana. We're from Pine Bluff. We don't get to go to all the games. I'm glad that you got to go. I'm glad that you had that experience, but you have to understand what happens in the state of Arkansas and the university playing at two different sites. Actually, it's when you consider Arlington playing A&M and you got Little Rock every other year, that's an anomaly. You ought to be at this point just thankful you got to do it. It's time to put it in the rearview mirror. It is a mistake to keep playing in that place. It's a mistake. And I'm sure this has something to do with big wigs, keeping them happy. I know that there used to be a recruiting advantage. I'm sorry, guys. Even while still playing at Little Rock, you lost recruits like Alti Tenpenny, Michael Dyer. You've got one for this upcoming class, a big-time quarterback. Where's he from? What part of the state? He's leaving. I'm sorry. That to me is just, it doesn't sell anymore. 10, 15 years ago, I would agree. Yeah, I think playing there is important in terms of recruiting and trying to satisfy the whole state. I'm sorry, we're 10 years past that. The facilities are a joke. When they pan out, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. That place does not deserve an SEC team playing inside of it. It doesn't. It looks like a I don't know. It sits 55,000 or whatever. It's just embarrassing. It's time to get the hell out of there. It's time to stop. You've got people now uploading videos, and I was going to share it with you. You got someone uploading a video who's talking about his experience, how brutal it was. Someone sent me a screenshot. People are talking about it on the message boards. It's time to get out of there, man. And I hear the people down in Central Arkansas. I have had some – it's been a while, but I've had some angry DMs. I had an angry email a couple of years ago. But I think more and more people are coming around. Listen, it's time to get the hell out of there. Now, it's hard to blame. You're not blaming the university for this. The owner of War Memorial, according to Wiki, is the state of Arkansas. Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism is the operator. They couldn't prepare. They've had all offseason. They couldn't prepare for 44,000 people. You've had all offseason to prepare for this? I'm shocked. I'm shocked the state can't do it. I'm so shocked. It's just embarrassing. And I hate that people had to go through that. And that, to some people, that might have been their first experience. Oh, I remember my first experience down in Little Rock when I was a kid. Imagine being through that. I'm sorry. It's time to cut the cord. It's time to get the hell out of Little Rock. It's time to get out of there. Fayetteville is just better. Call me a homer. Call me biased. I don't give a shit. It's time to get the hell out of Little Rock. Fayetteville's better. It's safer. It's easier on the eyes because the city is at least, it's at least a good look. The city looks good. They do a good job keeping up with it. Got to give credit to the mayor, Lionel Jordan. He's done a great job with the city of Fayetteville. It's a lot better than when I was a kid. I'm from the south side of Fayetteville. There's parts of Fayetteville. It's kind of dangerous. Used to be. Doesn't feel as bad. Not that there isn't crime there. Not that they don't have their own set of issues. But when you're talking about the stadium itself, not everyone has a great experience everywhere. I get that. Fayetteville has had its issues before. I think for a while people were complaining about the Wi-Fi and and some of the facilities weren't up to snuff. And hey, they still got work to do there too. It's not perfect, but my God, just about any 7A school in the state of Arkansas is better than playing at War Memorial. It's time to get out. There's no, don't give me this. Well, when you talk about the attendance, well, they moved it from 3 to noon. That nothing saves that scenario when you talk about attendance. I really thought that place was going to be sold out, even for Western Carolina, and it wasn't. And I'm not blaming folks for not showing up to Western Carolina, but I did think that the stadium atmosphere or the noise would have been louder. Didn't seem like it. There's just no excuse to play there anymore. There's just not. And I realize I'm probably going to piss a few people off with that, as I always do. But Swaggy says Little Rock tailgating makes it worth it. Yeah, if all you're doing is tailgating, but what about the people that actually go to the game, Swaggy? I mean, you pay how much for a ticket? What about those people? I've been to a bunch of Little Rock games. I've only ever tailgated there once, and it was great. It was awesome. It is. It's fun. It is one of the best tailgating experiences I think I've ever had. It's been a long time ago, but I've been. But what about the people that just pay to go to the damn games? You know, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like a big mistake staying there. And if all your if that's your only thing is, well, the tailgating's better, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. No nosebleeds either. That's cool. But the overall experience is not – apparently it's gotten worse. The state did a really poor job on Saturday. They did a really poor job. And they do get the majority of the blame. That's not all on War Memorial, but still. I live in southeast Arkansas, and I agree with you, Ty. We need our home games in Fayetteville. It's mostly the Little Rock natives that come at me that don't like my take on that. I just don't care. Like, especially after Saturday, I really don't care. Like, it's obvious the state gives no shits about what's going on in that stadium. The U of A is just doing it to appease somebody. I don't know. Home games should be at home. I agree. Sorry, Ty, I'm not disagreeing, but I think every other year is a bad no. And I hear you, Swaggy. I hear you, but no, I think you just completely pull out. It's time to stop. And the idea of scrimmaging down there in the spring is so stupid. I'm sorry, that's dumb. No, keep everything on campus. Your event and the hog. What do they call that? They change the name of it every year. Keep it all in Fayetteville. Stop trying to appease. You're not going to make everybody happy. So just play where your campus is located. They're appeasing the Little Rock Touchdown Club. Swaggy says leave Arlington before Little Rock, though. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. It is time. I agree, bro. It's time to get out of Arlington. I want to host some recruits. Now there is a flip side to that, and I have given this more thought, which is players when you recruit down in Texas, they do like the idea of playing that game in Arlington. It is appealing to some of those kids. So you're essentially giving A&M a game when you're doing the home at home, obviously every other year. But it just feels like that place you're cursed. I don't know. But I do agree. I think it's time to keep your money where your university is, because that's what all this is focused around anyways, is it not? Figure out how to get the Trojans a football program. They can the state can sell War Memorial to U of A. There you go. Yeah, give it to that's true. That's not a bad take, Philip. Someone needs to buy that stadium. And no, do not give me that we need to renovate that, because who's going to pay for that? Taxpayers are going to have to pay for that. And you're playing one game there every other year, and that stadium is going to need, I don't know the amount of money. I don't know. Obviously, it's a lot, and that shouldn't come out of the taxpayer pocket when you're playing one game there every other year. That's stupid. And then you could say, well, to dress it up and make it look nice for high school games. I still disagree. I wonder how bad Jerry wants to keep that game. Yeah, and that's at the end of the day, that's why I don't harp on the Arlington thing too much, because I'm sure that is a Jerry Jones thing. I mean, we all know that it is. Let's throw millions into Fayetteville facilities. Plays at Little Rock. Oh, that's getting pinned. I love that. That is great. I mean, yeah, you're putting all this money into renovations. They're getting a new I think they're getting a new screen for the south end zone. I know it was broke. Yeah, and let's play 2 games every other year away from Fayetteville. Let's play less games in Fayetteville. It makes no sense. All right, I'm off that rant, but I am Saturday really did it for me, man. I mean, I was already there. You guys know I'm not a big fan of playing there, but Saturday was it. Before we do, let's see if I can flip my screen around here and let you guys listen to what Patrick Stevens has to say. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, there we go. Well, maybe. Hang on. Oh, we can close out. These are stupid windows. I don't need them up. Okay. Let's flip this around, let you guys see what Patrick Stevens had to say. There we go.
Y'all, I've never done a Twitter video. I've never seen the conditions so bad at a Little Rock game. It was 30 minutes plus to get.
Can y'all hear that?
Plus to get concessions, anything,
what?
Anything to drink whatsoever, and then nothing was.
Why is it not? Why is there not desktop audio coming through? That sucks. Okay, it's not letting me. Oh, hang on, let me fix this. That's weird. All the settings are unlocked. It should be playing. Could y'all hear that? You could hear it? Okay, that's weird. It was giving me no signals that there was audio coming through. Let's try that again. I thought he had some good points. I mean, this was what he's kind of echoing what we've kind of heard before, except some of the other issues with the water. I've got that all the way up. I mean, all the way up. So hopefully you can hear it.
Y'all, I've never done a Twitter video, so we'll see how this goes. I'm trying to condense this. I've never seen the conditions so bad at a Little Rock game. It was 30 minutes plus to get in, 30 minutes plus to get concessions, anything to drink whatsoever, and then nothing was working. It was cash only. There was people seriously in health risk there because they couldn't get anything and no one could get in. This was so poorly ran. It makes me truly embarrassed to be from Little Rock, truly embarrassed for what we host for Arkansas Razorback football. And if this is the best thing we can get, the games need to all be in Fayetteville or anywhere else because Little Rock cannot perform.
All right. There you have it. I don't know why that sound. It's weird. I have the sound all the way up and the audio was barely coming through. This new version of OBS is not what the old one was. I'll say that. So there you go. That's kind of what he had to say about it. I've lived in Little Rock. This is from Bradley Dixon. I've lived in Little Rock and Fayetteville, both. Been going to games since the 70s, and I was at some of the most iconic games ever played in Little Rock. And has become a joke. I think you mean, so Bradley's saying, and it's become a joke? Yeah, well, I hate to hear that because there are some memorable games at Little Rock. That's really too bad that things have gotten that bad, you know. And again, even if things were great, I still would say we need to move these games to Fayetteville. Just simply because it's just too costly. You could tell, listening to Sam talk about coming home, listen to what he says about coming and playing in Fayetteville. It's like, it's very clear. He won't come out and say it because he can't. I don't think him or any of the staff want to come to Little Rock. They want to keep it in Fayetteville. Keep the money local. Keep it up here. Hey, make sure you guys like and share. I'm going to try, if I don't go live on Wednesday, I might have some edited content. Or on Friday, of course, I'll go live on Friday because we're going to break down Kent State coming up. Again, things on Saturday, just to kind of wrap up. Offensive line, pass blocking, I think I'd have to give it a solid, B+, A- in that area. Run blocking, D-, which is weird considering you played Western Carolina. It's weird to give it that score. Secondary was fantastic. I mean, I do think, and I agree with what some other folks have said, I do think the offense was completely out of rhythm for Western Carolina. The quarterback was not on the same page with his wideouts. First game of the year for them, sure, but the secondary did such a good job, man. And I'd have to give the secondary, honestly, I'd have to give them an A-. I was really impressed with the secondary. even with all things considered. Probably the thing that stood out to me the most in a positive manner was the wide receivers catching the ball. I don't know. Did anybody have a drop? I don't think anybody had a drop, or if they did, it might have been one. I was very impressed. That's been something, year 1 under Pittman and year 3 under Pittman, they really struggled with. Year 2, it felt like they were a little bit more sure-handed. We all know why that was. And it feels like you've gone from having – how many receivers on this roster do you feel like, all these guys seem like they can catch a good ball? From the media standpoint, from the guys that have been there, who've been to a lot of the practices or all of them, I'm right there in the middle. I went to a lot of the spring, went to all the spring except for 1, maybe 2, and then I went to all of fall camp except 2. I kept walking away with, and I uploaded to Patreon. I remember telling Patreon supporters, these wide receivers catch everything. We're seeing that. We saw that in actual game time situation, and it was awesome. Okay, I got to run. I got to get to practice today. Going to have to take the wife's Buick, I think. But I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. But like and share. Shout out to the sponsors. A big shout out to the sponsors, and, of course, to the Patreon supporters. If you guys want to join, it goes a long ways. If you want to join the Patreon, I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider doing that. At least check out the page. I do upload exclusive content there as well. All right. I'll see you guys at some point later on this week. Have a good rest of your day. All right? Okay. I'll see you around.